What's going, guys? And we are back with some Grand Tour. Now, yeah, you're probably wondering one thing. I've left school. I know, that's all I'm going to say. Now, this episode, we are doing an Itchy, Eurus, and Chinese Food 4. Now, Chinese Food 4 is a really good episode, in my opinion. And, yeah. Let's get swifty with it. We're gonna get swifty with it. Time to get swifty in here. Take off your panties and poop on the floor. I'm gonna. There you are. Why is that? That's really weird. You can see the cat. That's really weird. Look, and it gone. Like if I do that, it's not there. That's weird. It's our boys. It's our boys.
Welcome, and coming up in this week's show, Abby is sideways on ice in a 911 Turbo. Richard drives Jim Clark's beautiful Lotus 25, and I nearly fall over. Yeah, exciting looking show. That is all to come. Now,
hang on a minute. Does that mean Howard and Adrian aren't coming on then?
No. We've got time. We actually begin with the French. Now, they don't make a sports car very often, but when they do, literally nobody buys it. We've had the Venturi Atlantique, and then there was the Matra Murena, and then there was the Simca Sport. And all of them fell down the back of the sofa of history.
Yeah, but you're conveniently forgetting to mention the best of the French sports car makers.
Well, that's like saying the best of the airborne plagues. What is it?
No.
The best of the...
No, it isn't. There is one French maker that's been consistently good at making sports cars. And they've made a new one, and I've been testing it.
Is it Renault? Is it Renault? Yeah, it's Renault. Wait, no?
It's called the A110.
Oh, it's the Alpine.
By Alpine, a French sports car firm who have a history of hitting the spot. The original A110, for example, won the World Rally Championship in 1973. And it's that car that gives the new one not only its name, but also its looks.
So, what we have here is a small, pure, no-nonsense sports car aimed squarely at the Porsche Cayman and the Audi T.
Hey, Sarah.
Go.
It's been a while since I played this game.
The A110 is, in fact, a mid-engine...
How do we handbrake again? That's handbrake!
From scratch on a clean sheet of paper.
This is a car I would have, to be honest. It's sleek, and I love it.
Cartoon car, it should come with a little bubble saying, hit, pow, bow.
I don't know why we're driving the wrong way down the Grand Tour, the Ebola Run. There you go. Came ahead eventually.
This whole lightness and smallness thing cascades down in a sort of waterfall of pure joy. Ow! Right then, let's go. go.
Woohoo!
The body and the chassis are made entirely of aluminium, and the reason for that is simple. It's lightness. And from that starting point, the Alpine engineers nerded their way through the rest of the car and shaved off every spare gram they could find.
So, thanks to Alpine's fanatical diet regime, this car is 300 kilos lighter than a Cayman or an Audi TT. And that has a profound effect.
0 to 60, 4.5 seconds. Top speed limited to 155 miles an hour.
And then, when you get to a corner...
We're gonna have to do some drifting.
Just how agile this thing is.
We're gonna have to do some drifting, aren't we?
It's like driving a feather. Go!
Yeah, drifting a feather.
The seats are half the weight of the ones you'll find in any hot Renault. The handbrake is built into the main calipers, rather than being separate, saving another 2.5 kilos. Even the stereo is a bespoke, lightweight design.
Woo!
So good, but it does. Oh, no.
That sounded very sexual. It's supposed to not feel so good, but it does.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
But even though the A110 is built to minimalist principles, you never feel like you're in some miserable Spartan track day car. It has aircon, sat-nav, phone connectivity. All the modern things you want.
This whole lightness and smallness thing cascades down in a sort of waterfall of pure joy. Lower weight means you don't need such big tyres, you don't need so much grip. That gives the car more feel. Low weight means you use less fuel, you make lower emissions. It's just win, 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 win all the way. This is actually the most intelligent car I've driven for years. And I love it for that. I love it.
So despite the ordinary engine, the looks that you're not sure about, and the high price, you liked it.
I did. I loved it, yeah.
Yes, but would you buy one?
I have.
You've bought one of those.
I have, and actually, so has Gordon Murray. I've brought a picture of him along. He designed the McLaren F1, so he knows.
Yeah, so it's the sports car of choice for old men with terrible shirts. So that's good to know.
Evidently, but now let's see how fast it goes round the Ebola drone, shall we?
Alright. Let's go, Abby Eaton. Woohoo! No, right at the end.
Very good. Good driving. Well done. Right. Right, let's see where it goes on our lap board. Will it go in the top 10? Oh dear, no it doesn't. Sorry mate, that is dismal for a mid-engine car. It is.
Look, it isn't about things like lap times. I've told you before, he who is first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Yes, but it's 15th.
It is, yeah, it is.
So,
It's the Romain Grosjean of cars, that is.
Roman, who?
Grosjean.
Who's he?
He's a French racing driver, the 15th best Formula One driver in the world. In fact, you'd like him.
I already do.
Good, good. So we've sorted that out. It's time for us to move on.
There's a new off-road four-wheel drive Lamborghini. It's called the Urus, and to find out if it's any good, I took the Grand Tour to Sweden, armed with some questions. Here's my first big question. If you build a car to tackle terrain like this, can it still be a proper Lambo?
Okay, I gotta admit, I've seen this episode before and I love the Urus so much. Look at it! Look at it!
Well, the Urus certainly looks like a jacked-up supercar.
Look at it, it's a... Oh.
With its swivel-eyed styling, it appears to be every inch a Lamborghini. But is it?
Oh. I'm sorry, but the Urus is just...
Those turbochargers may be a little bit annoying on the road, but here they're giving with a low-down torque that I need to get up this hill.
Woo!
Oh, God, that looks tricky. Oh, God.
Gonna be really close. Yes.
This is the first Lamborghini to use turbocharging and the first to have an automatic gearbox. And what that combination means is there's a very slight and rather un-Lamborghini-ish gap between putting your foot down and it getting going. And when it does get going, there are no screaming histrionics. Sure, there's a bit of popping and banging from the back. But you can't hear that inside, where everything is muted and refined. I can see the Pope in one of these. So, it's quiet and a bit hesitant. And it has snazzy diffs and a clever traction control system. And the biggest carbon brakes ever fitted to a road car, so it's safe as well. However, there's no getting around the fact that I'm currently driving on snow and ice in a car that has 641 horsepower rampaging around underneath its bonnet. Which means that actually it's not that safe at all. Go. There's no manual locking differentials, there's no low-range gearbox. All you can do is fire it up and then put the drive system into snow mode.
We're very wide. I'm trying not to get any, but I'm like still wanting to floor it. I didn't even hear anything. Okay, screw it.
This car then, it sits right at the moment where excitement stops and terror begins. That is Lambo Land, that is. Shit. So, the Urus looks and feels like a Lamborghini. It's also practical. The boot is massive. And inside, there's space for 5 6-footers. It's a nice place to be as well. And all that's great. Which leaves us with one more thing to answer. Is it a good laugh? What we've done is use a snowplow to create a racetrack on this frozen lake. And this is what we have planned. I'm going to try and overtake this, a four-wheel drive Porsche 911 Turbo, which is being driven by the Grand Tour's racing driver, Abby Eaton. Have you seen this crack?
I hadn't noticed that before.
Look at the state of this.
You're the heavier car, aren't you?
That's 2.4 tons, and I weigh half a ton. Are you not worried about that?
I haven't got my seatbelt on, so if it goes under, I can get out straight away.
Seriously?
Yep.
Before the duel began, I had a few practice laps on my own.
Alright. Let's drive. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh my god. I've just realized what we're driving on. Going round the curvy dreams for women. Going down the long hard shaft. Turning around the top tip of the dream. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. Whoa! What's with this, like, bassy music? Woohoo!
Come on, get on with it. Hurry up! Oh yeah.
I just got a better laugh for the.
Get as far up a ski slope as a Range Rover, but for doing this, it's better. But would it be good enough to get past Abby in that Porsche?
I might be.
There she is. There she is. The bell has sounded. The race is on.
Okay.
Now we'd find out what's what on our specially designed trip.
Get here, Abby Eaton. You're mine.
To make this car, Lambo's engineers had a good run.
Shortcut. Oh, that Porsche is quick.
Here we go. Speed up again now.
I can get the. I can do the turns. Turns. I can get her in the turns. I can get her in the turns. Get her in the turns. Get her in the turns.
Drive carefully.
Go wide. Go wide. Go wide. Go wide. Go wide. Go short. Go short. Nice. Get here. Grrr.
This is brilliant.
Oh, this is. Get here. Get here.
Come on.
Ah! So close. I was 30 meters away.
Hammer. Come on. For lap after lap, the big, heavy Urus clawed at the rear end of the 911 Turbo. Oh, God. Really? No. But eventually, I had to admit defeat. I can't get past that 911, and that's just an end of it. But I can keep up. And in an off-road car, that is fairly astonishing. It really is.
I love that. I love that car. I love the Lamborghini Urus. It's amazing.
Certainly, I can believe Lamborghini's claim that this is the fastest off-road car in the world.
I got paid for that.
That was a job.
It was work. Doing that is my work. It probably won't be the fastest off-road car in the world for very long, though, because both Aston Martin and Ferrari have got big SUVs coming out this year.
Yeah, whatever. Thing is, could you really tell people that you have a Urus? Because it sounds like a minor alien out of Star Trek.
Yeah,
But it does work as a Lamborghini.
yeah, but no.
Well, this is excellent consumer advice.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad we-
very clear, very clear.
The thing is, after I made that film, which was quite good fun, I came home and I thought the trouble is it could do with being a bit more Aventador-ish. It could do with being a bit more mad.
Are you saying you changed your mind?
Yes.
Oh, great. So Prime Minister Clarkson returns from the summit. I've declared war. But on the plane home, I had another think about it, and I'm not so sure now. I've changed my mind.
Exactly, that's what I've done.
Good. Well, since we're in such a sensible frame of mind, I'd like to move things on now with a brief history lesson. On April the 7th, 1968, a racing driver was killed in a Formula 2 race in Hockenheim, Germany. Sadly, the driver's death was not a surprising occurrence, because such was the danger of the sport back then. He was one of 127 racing drivers who would die at the wheel that year alone. This time, though, the death sent shockwaves through the motorsport world, because it had just lost the man who was unquestionably the greatest racing driver of his day, and who many argue is still the greatest of all time.
I'll agree with that.
Jim Clark has died in an accident during a Formula 2 race in West Germany.
I'll agree with that,
It
though.
was a terrible shock to everybody. It really knocked us all back. If there was anybody who was not going to have a fatal accident, it was Jim Clark, because he drove in such a way that he just didn't do the mistakes that other drivers did.
In California, a radio station broadcaster announcing the news of Clark's death asked his listeners to turn on their headlights as a mark of respect. And the freeways lit up. Such a huge global fuss would not have sat easily with Clark, because this shy, modest man, the son of a Scottish sheep farmer, was never one to trumpet his own skills.
I started as an amateur with no idea or no intention of becoming world champion, but I was curious to find out what it was like to drive a car fast, to drive on a certain circuit, to drive a certain type of car.
Having cut his teeth in sports car racing in the late 50s, Clark's speed and talent was spotted by Lotus boss Colin Chapman, who signed him for his Formula 1 team in 1960. Clark soon set the motorsport world alight, especially in this car. The Lotus
25.
In which, in 1963, he won his first F1 World Championship.
Oh, we're gonna drive the Lotus 25?
Oh my God! I am sitting where Jim Clark sat!
Oh, we are. I don't want to drive, I actually want to drive this properly. Oh, God. This is nimble. I don't even want to drift, I just want to drive normally.
Right, we're all set.
Ooh!
Are you ready?
That was close.
Go, go, go! This is electrifying!
thanks to its revolutionary monocoque chassis, the 25 was stiffer and lighter than any other F1 car, which meant it wasn't just fast on the straights, but quicker through the corners too.
Oh, good in. Oh my god, look at this, man. Oh, that's a wide turn. Oh, I just scraped. Alright, I need to really book it. So there you go, wait.
Watch this.
Nice.
This is dangerous because of you. Oh, I was born to do this.
I just stayed in
And in
here.
the 1963 season, Clark used it to win a record 7 out of the 10 Grand Prix.
Winner is Jim Clark. Nobody could possibly catch him now.
But 1963 was just a warm-up for what was to come. To get a true picture of Clark's genius, we must look at another year, 1965, when he hit heights no driver had reached before, or has done since.
A modern Formula One driver does 21 races a year and often complains that's too many. In 1965, Jim Clark raced in 63 races. Some of these cars look similar, but they are all completely different. In a car like this, he'd do Formula One Championship. He raced in the British Formula 2 Championship and the French Formula 2 Championship in this car. He raced in the Tasman Series, a sort of Australian Grand Prix for Down Under, in this car. And then there's this Lotus Cortina, in which he decided to race in touring cars. And then if all that wasn't enough, he decided to go for the Indy 500.
First up was the Tasman Series in Australasia. Out of the 15 races, Clark won 11 and took the crown. Then it was back to Europe for the British and French Formula 2 Championships, both of which he won.
Jim Clark led from the start.
Winner is Jim Clark.
And in between the F2 races, he was jumping into his Lotus Cortina and racking up touring car victories.
No, oh, look at this, man. No, look. Yes. Yes, proper British, man. Look at this. Oh, that's wide. Oh, boom, look it. I was itching my head. Come on, boys. Nice. That's 100.
Oh, I'm slightly alarmed. Oh, here we go, here we go. Keep going. good.
Oh, I'm slightly alarmed. And on top of all that, there was America.
The Indianapolis 500 has been called the greatest spectacle in racing.
America's most prestigious race would be a tough challenge. Oval racing at higher average speeds than he was used to against seasoned Indy veterans. For the Indy 500, Clark raced a specially developed Lotus producing just shy of 500 horsepower. However, although he already had a Formula One world title to his name, the Scotsman's CV cut no ice with the sniffy Indy officials, who made the upstart from across the pond take a rookie driving test before he could compete.
Oh my god, this is... We can really see how quick this car can go now. Go wide. That's 150. 160. 170. 180.
Come Indy weekend, the upstart from across the pond qualified on the front row. And then, in the race itself, Clark up against America's finest oval racers, won by just over 2 minutes.
Jim Clark, first European to win at Indianapolis since 1916, set a new record of 150.686 miles per hour.
So what was it that made Clark so good? What was it that made him capable of winning in any type of car?
Jimmy was an absolute natural driver, and he did it without thinking. He didn't know why he was driving in this style the way he did. In the period that we're talking about, we had 1.5 litre cars, 200 horsepower. If you drove the car too hard, you would scrub the speed off. And if you lose a bit of speed, it's very difficult to actually make it up again. And that's what Jimmy had the knack of, keeping the momentum of the car going. I don't think that any of the modern drivers could have driven the car anywhere near as quickly as Jimmy did, because he was just so precise.
Alright, we're back. I'm gonna drive it like... That didn't happen.
Besides a supernatural ability to coax speed out of the car, Clark also possessed another vital skill.
A lot of very good racing drivers died in Lotuses because the Lotus was a very fragile car. But Jim Clark was so smooth that he never put too much stress on the areas of a car that would give up.
But don't think for a minute that Clark was one of those drivers that could only win in a perfect car. One year at Spa, for example, he was leading the race when his gearbox started to let go.
Did he give up? Nope. Instead, he drove the rest of the race, and we're talking 160 miles an hour in the wet, with one hand on the steering wheel and the other holding the gear lever in place. And he still won. By nearly 5 minutes. So let's just sum up Clark's season of 1965. Of the 63 races he contested, he won a staggering 31 of them and was on the podium a further 8 times. He was now seen as the greatest racing driver of all time, in demand the world over. Yet this shy Scotsman chose to mark the year's achievements with a modest celebration at his hometown back in Scotland. The next 2 years, by contrast, were a disaster, with multiple mechanical failures denying him another championship. However, in 1968, driving the Lotus 49, another game-changer from Colin Chapman, Clark took the first win of the year in South Africa and looked set for another dominant season.
Congratulations, Jim. This is absolutely splendid effort. Okay, thank you very much.
And then, on the weekend of April the 7th, Clark had a choice of 2 races he could compete in. One at Brands Hatch, the other a Formula 2 race at Hockenheim. Fatefully, he entered the German race.
April the 7th is a bad day for me. He wasn't happy. It was freezing cold and damp, misty. We could not get any heat into the tyres. Couldn't get any temperature in them, no matter what we did. Jimmy said to me, "Father, do not expect anything from me today. Just keep me informed with the pit board, where I am, how many laps to go." That's the last thing he said.
On lap 5, Clark's car suddenly speared off the track at 170 miles an hour. When he died, he was just 32. But in his short career, he had racked up some truly incredible achievements.
In Formula 1, he won 25 of his 73 races, which in percentage terms puts him way ahead of Hamilton, Vettel and even Schumacher. In pole positions, he had 33, which again in percentage terms makes him second best of all time, just behind Fangio.
He was the benchmark. That was it.
Most of what I was able to do in motor racing was done by the manner in which Jim Clark drove, and I just followed him.
He was a gentleman. He was a gentleman and a gentleman. It's a pity he's not around now, because it'd be nice to have him.
truly amazing is how many championships he took part in. I mean, can you imagine Lewis Hamilton getting out of his Formula One car and saying, I haven't got time for any interviews because I've got to go off and do a touring car race? Just wouldn't.
And he did. The other thing that's worth remembering is back in the early 60s, if you went to Australia, if you flew to Australia, that meant 8 stops. And there were no flatbed, there weren't even any movies.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he'd get off that aeroplane, do a race, win it, obviously, then get on another aeroplane straight away to France to win a race there.
No, it is astonishing. I mean, everybody has a favourite racing driver. I'm sure everybody here does as well. It's, you know, it's the Senna, Schumacher, Villeneuve, Romain Grosjean, Fangio. But if you use maths to measure a driver's greatness, you have to conclude it was Jim Clark. Good night.
All right. That was a pretty good episode of that. Quite emotional, because in my opinion, by far, Jim Clark was an incredible driver. It's, like I said, it was really sad he's not here anymore, to be honest. Anyway, we've got our next episode. One of my personal favorites. Favorites. I like this episode. Miss watching it. It's a good one.
In this week's show, a supercar is dismantled for no reason, a man with no shirt on, and my whole tongue is wrapped up in intestine. My whole tongue is wrapped up in intestine. Those are the highlights. Those are the best bits. They really are. Anyway, over here in the West, we tend to think that at £360,000, a Rolls-Royce Phantom is quite expensive. But this week, the Grand Tour is focusing mostly on China. And over there, things are a bit different.
I like this episode.
As recently as the 1980s, people here would lie awake at night, dreaming of having enough money to buy a mule. Whereas now, just 30 years later, they dream of being able to buy a honky. Specifically this honky, the L5. In Chinese, honky means the red flag, the symbol of communism. But there's nothing at all communistical about this monster's price tag, which is £880,000. The interior is an exquisite work of art, with rosewood panelling and cream leather. The dashboard and center console are fully digital. There's jade in the door handles and gold and sunflowers everywhere else. Despite its villainous presence, though, the price is mad. So I called May and Hammond, and we came up with an idea.
If you are a Chinese businessman or businesswoman and you want a car that reflects your status, you don't need to spend £880,000. You can simply pop over to Europe and buy a Mercedes S-Class like this one. And even though this is the 6-litre V12, it costs me just £8,800. In other words, you could have 100 of these for the price of a honky.
At this point, my colleague Richard Hammond arrived in something or other.
What is that?
This is a Cadillac STS, and you can shut up.
I wasn't going to say anything.
We were then interrupted by the arrival of Clarkson in a BMW.
Ooh, I see you've bought the long car.
Yours is long as well.
Are you two been from the 1970s?
No, they're long wheelbase. 3.4-litre V12.
Appearing before your eyes.
How can a German car go? Are you sure it's a real one?
Was it parked in the sea when you bought it?
Let's not get bogged down with the oxidisation of my car. Because a lot of Chinese people, as we know, come to Europe these days. If Chinese people are going to come to the UK and buy Western soap and Western frocks, why would they not buy Western cars when they're there?
Yeah, because you can't buy these cars second-hand over here.
No, they're not. This vintage isn't available here.
No.
And what we're saying is you can buy one of these for a lot less than a luxury honky. A lot less.
And that's what we're here to prove, people of China.
Eventually, we arrived at the location for our first test. It's one of 78 centres around Chongqing where teenagers can learn to drive away from the traffic. To us, however, it looked like a racetrack.
Right, I remember watching
Perfect
this.
for an ingenious handling test that I just thought of.
Practical. Oh, great.
Now, to do this, we're going to use drones like this one, which have been fitted with flamethrowers. They actually use these in China for clearing litter that's got stuck on overhead power cables.
Right, so how are we going to use airborne flamethrowers like this to test the power and agility of our cars?
Good question. Each of our cars has, as you can see, been fitted with 3 chains of firecrackers. One on the bonnet, one on the roof, one on the boot lid, okay? So you drive round a special course here while you're attacked by the airborne flamethrowers. And then you score a point when you finish for every one of the targets that haven't gone off.
Alright, I remember watching this, and it's quite simple. Be careful. Alright. Go. No! Okay, well, I've got one. Okay, so let's turn. Wait. Go! Yeah! Go close. Go. Okay, wait. Go! Go! Okay. She beat me timbers, boys. Go. They're all close. We've got straight to the finish. I know we've got one more. Book it! Oh, that was close.
Ah, fire from the sky! Ah! Ah!
There's the drone on my left, the first one.
Okay.
It is quite scary through here. Drive fast. Ow, God, that looks tricky.
Go. I didn't even hit it with a shot. Drift to this corner. Yes. Wait for the clear run. The thing is, you need to be careful. Oh, that was close. Okay, we need to wait. That was close. Oh! Alright. You! Oh my. Yeah, man.
Fire everywhere! Oh, God! Bandits at 10 o'clock.
That'll have alarmed him.
It will have alarmed him, Sam, yeah.
You know dogs don't like fireworks.
No, they hate it.
Away! Full throttle.
Oh, I'll just get a pooper, I don't care. Yeah, I am too.
That was such a good laugh. Floating around with airborne flamethrowers. Really good afternoon.
Yes.
What?
Hang on.
Yeah?
That was a totally useless test.
We had a call the other day from a Chinese car manufacturer called NIO, and they said, we have built a blisteringly fast, all-electric supercar, and would one of you like to try it out?
Yeah, now, after his escapade going up a Swiss hill in a blisteringly fast all-electric supercar, Richard Hammond said that he really didn't think he was the man for the job. However, it turned out that the car was only available for one day, and unfortunately on that day I had the boiler man coming round.
Yep. And I had a dental appointment?
Dentist.
Dental appointment, yeah.
Yep, so guess what?
Oh, I've seen. Oh.
Here it is.
Oh.
It's called the EP9. And it's pretty clear that this is no Nissan Leaf. Because a Leaf doesn't have giant head restraints to stop G-forces from snapping your neck during hard cornering. And that's just the start. What I have here is a comparison between this Neo EP9 and the Rimac Concept 1, in which I had my little tumble down a Swiss mountainside. So, in the Rimac Concept 1, power 1,207 brake horsepower. In this Neo, 1,341 brake horsepower. Power to weight in the Rimac is 652 brake horsepower per ton. In this Neo, 773 brake horsepower per ton. Oh, good. So, no pressure then. Right, the high voltage system is active.
Oh.
So here goes. To launch it, it's got to be in drive. Left foot on brake, right foot mash the throttle, right hand hold that back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come off the brake.
Oh, there we go. Oh my God! This is really quick. 100, 110, 120, 100. Okay, go, 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 go. This is freaking cool. Oh, Slovenia, this is very quick. Very wide. Woo!
It's like driving a jet engine. Something else about which I have bad memories. This is a bad place. However, there is some good news for people like me. The brakes! Whoa! put everything back where it should be. My eyes have come forward, my lungs are on the front again. Oh. Now, if you want to experience this phenomenal speed for yourself, you will need two things.
First of all, a lot of money, because this costs £1.15 million. Secondly, a racetrack, because it works like that Ferrari FXX, where you buy the car, they deliver it to a track for you along with a support team, you drive it, crap yourself, then they take it away and hose it out for you.
Since it's an electric car, you'll be wondering about range.
Obviously, if you hammer it around a track, you are going to wear those batteries out pretty quickly. However, on the plus side, they only take 45 minutes to charge.
On the minus side, you have to take the batteries out to do it. And as they weigh 317 kilograms each, you won't be doing that on your own. It is a bit more of a faff than, say, a can of petrol. However, if you're an electric petrol head and you're tempted by the Neo, you might be interested to know that it's not short of pedigree. There's evidence that the people behind this thing really know what they're doing. For starters, the outfit that makes the EP9 also runs a Formula E team, one which won the inaugural championship in 2015. And until recently, the EP9 itself held a lap record around the Nürburgring, with an astonishing time of 6 minutes, 45.9 seconds.
That was quick.
Which means it isn't just about going fast in a straight line.
That's quick.
Active suspension, active aerodynamics, torque vectoring, and all of that means only one thing.
We're driving this baby,
Grip, grippity grip. Go. Go. Oh.
6.4 G.
Oh my God.
Look at this Bobby.
This bit is really scary. Come on. Jesus! It's like driving an octopus.
There's no doubt that as a piece of engineering, the Neo is deeply impressive.
And then slingshot.
But what I love about it most is that thanks to its phenomenal grip, I could hammer it round our track all day and still be the right way up. And from me, there is no higher compliment.
Thanks for sticking me with that. You know, it's interesting. Watching that has convinced me that I will never buy an electric car as long as I live.
Why not?
Because why on earth would I want to employ a team of men and buy a forklift every time I need to go anywhere?
Yeah, that's all very well, but a lot of people are more enlightened than you, including me, in fact, Sir Hammond.
Yes.
Tell me, how does it compare with the Rimac?
That was interesting.
Yes, they are. Shut up. The Neo, the Neo is just more of everything. It's more power, more grip, more speed.
I have to say, that looked painfully fast, that car.
Is.
I mean,
It is astonishingly fast, but it is a novelty, an amazing, powerful, fast one, but a novelty nevertheless.
And we should make it absolutely clear that you can't drive it on the road at all, can you?
No,
It's not road legal.
You can't, unlike the Rimac, which you can. That's what makes it so amazing. And there's a new Rimac coming out soon that'll have more than 1,900 horsepower.
But imagine the size of the internal combustion engine you would need to make 1,900 horsepower. It'd
be massive. That's why the future of supercars like that is electric.
It is.
What?
It is. It just is. It is. It is. That's the way it's going to go. It's the way it is going.
OK, then, let's find out how fast your beloved Neo goes round the Ebola drone.
All right, here we go.
Good job.
Woo!
You did well there. You did well. So exciting are those noises.
I like the noises.
What, you don't like those?
No, there's a whole new set of noises you've been.
Okay.
It's the future.
Okay, let's see how fast you're elegantly entitled N10, no, Neo. EP9.
Yes.
Got round, shall we? Here we go. Top 10.
Come on. There you go. Oh, yeah.
Quicker than
Oh,
an
yes.
Audi.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. That is faster than the Aston Martin Vulcan.
You're absolutely right, Hammond. It is a very impressive car, and it is faster than a Vulcan. But it's slower than the petrol-powered McLaren Senna, which is road legal. So that is petrol 1,
yes,
electricity 0.
All right, don't do that face. Don't do that face. No.
Smug face.
Not the smug face. James, just move it on quick.
Yes, in this show, we are explaining to the people of China that they don't need to waste huge sums of money on something used from
damaged cars, with James still moaning about his temperature issues.
The air conditioning is now so broken that it's permanently hot even when I turn it to low and press every auto button.
I decided there was only one thing I could do about this. Ignore him. Jesus. Look at that. They're actually building another motorway with viaducts and tunnels on the other side of the valley. Not one motorway. Why do you need another one over there? Still, all these motorways did mean we could prove that our cars work well as long-distance cruisers.
Where the hell do you
I want to be in the BMW.
However, in the USS Norman Schwarzkopf...
Oh, God. It's dying.
What's happened?
Loads of warnings came on, and then it
Oh.
lost power. I made it to this off-ramp, and now it died.
Oh dear. Not sure my jump leads are going to get that going, are they? Oh,
No.
look. Oh,
That's
dear.
really gone bang, isn't it?
There's oil coming out everywhere.
Do you know the number for the emergency services?
No, I don't.
Do you know how to say my Cadillac's broken down? Do you know what junction you're at?
No.
Oh dear.
No, neither do I. Do you?
Oh, I don't know. Come on, we've got a long way to go. Eventually, two of us arrived at the location we'd selected. It's known as the 24 Curve Road because it has 24 fun-filled curves. It was built in 1935 to ferry US military equipment to China. And it hasn't really been maintained since. So the surface is loose and potholed, and it looked like it should be a right laugh. This was actually part of the road the only road that linked the then capital of China with India and Burma.
Yeah, well, before that, all the supplies that came into China had to be flown over the Himalayas, which was incredibly dangerous in the 30s. I think the Americans lost something like 400...
Sorry to interrupt. See this stupid thing?
Oh, never mind that. Look what he's driving.
Why, is that Hammond?
I guess the Cadillac's definitely broken then. Nice.
Check out my Fulu.
Why have you got that?
Well, I wasn't going to let you have all the fun, was I?
No, but never mind that. Why have you got it?
Well, my telephone translation device at the toll booth worked to a degree, to this extent.
What, somebody got you a car?
Look, I got wheels, 3 of them.
Anyway, listen. Here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a test of speed, because we are against the clock. Bear that in mind, okay?
Okay.
And durability at the same time. So you've got to get up this road, which goes all the way up there, okay, as fast as possible, and keep your car in one piece in the process. Richard and I decided that James should volunteer to go first. Oh, you look exactly like a racing driver, apart from visually.
It's a racing clown.
Can we just get on with it? It's very hot in here.
Are you going with your window down or up? A lot of stones. Down.
It's a small risk from being hit by a stone. It's a large risk of dying from suffocation.
Right. Anything else we want to say to him?
Yes,
Let's
go.
take some time and prepare mentally and really think about this. Have you visualised the course?
No.
Okay.
He looks quite cross.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah. Go!
Now we just go left and right. Okay. Yeah?
Are you streaming?
Yeah.
This is important. Can you come down?
Sure. Alright guys, I'm back. Whoa!
Quite slow there. What am I doing?
Ugh. World's most boringest race. I mean, I gotta admit, this view is amazing. Shut up, James. I don't know where the top is. Are we nearly at the top? Yep. I don't know if we're nearly at the top. Oh, we're at the last turn. Yes! Yes! Whew.
Next, it was my turn. Right, I'm attaching the wobbly-headed symbol of capitalism here to bring me good fortune on this perilous test.
If you're ready.
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Go.
Oh god, oh god, oh god. And here we begin.
Oh, dearie me.
Woo!
Drive carefully.
My cousin's here, so he's gonna be a bit annoying. Oh, and he's leaving. Oh, no. What are you streaming?
Grand Tour. White turd. Alright, now that's the Beamer.
Later, do you wanna go on GTA?
Yeah, when I've finished this.
Game stop.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say you were streaming?
Yeah.
Did it, didn't you? Yeah. So I've won that.
Well, we don't
Second
know. We
time
haven't
we're
got your
streaming.
tie yet.
You said your words, test of durability, and is against the clock. Your car
I
is
just went to
broken.
the Saturday night project.
It's not broken, a tyre's come off.
Broken.
Alright. This is gonna take a long one.
How long have you been streaming for?
Richard Hammond.
I've been streaming for just over an hour.
How long do you usually stream for?
Around 2 hours. Oh god. Oh no. The blistering fast Flula, whatever this is, I don't know. It's Chinese. It looks Chinese. It is Chinese. Look at the power of this. I'm going a staggering 50 miles an hour.
50 miles, that's insane a lot.
I know, it's so quick. So, look at this power. Drift the corner. That, oh, for God's sake. Oh. This actually looks Chinese. Oh, yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No.
How come you've got that?
Did he just crash it?
Was that a crash, or did he just disappear behind the...
He has, look, he's gone off there.
Don't you break it off?
So there we are. I'm afraid that Richard Hammond's luck has finally run out. It's with deep regret and great sadness that James and I must now announce the...
I don't know how much. I'm gonna see how much my supplies sell for.
Not again.
Does he do it? I don't know. Well, on that terrible disappointment, back to the tent.
Oh, sugar.
I believe I'm actually at the end. I can tell. Yeah, I'm actually at the end. Huh.
Oh, for God's sake. Then you call Mars.
Smug because I won that.
No, you didn't.
I did. I was the fastest, and it was supposed to be a test of fun, and you moaned the
Mars,
entire way
my
up the
friend.
hill.
Got nothing to on
I did have quite a big crash at the end there.
There's nothing particularly remarkable about that, is there? I mean, why would we...
The fact is, the reason you crashed
You think?
is your incompetence, but also because your Cadillac broke down.
Ah, it's impounded, isn't it?
Was too humid.
Oh,
so
you
that
got
means
to
the
be
winner
kidding
is
me.
definitely of the whole thing, the BMW 750i. What?
Actually, no. To be fair, the real winner of the whole thing was our brilliant idea to sell second-hand limos to the Chinese.
No, he's absolutely right about that, because
I'm gonna sell my supplies to my bunker, then upgrade my carbon.
Nice.
You see, this program is shown in every single country in the world, except one.
Which one?
China. So this entire show has been a total waste of time. It's an hour of your life you'll never get back. And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Next week, I'm happy to say, we're back in the groove. We're in Scotland, and I get an Alfa Romeo GTV6. Make me very happy. See you then. Take care. Good night.
Alright, that's that one done. That was a pretty good episode. This is gonna be
Why?
awkward.
What are you doing?
Right, have you heard of the Grand Tour?
No.
Okay, have you heard of the show Top Gear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much Top Gear, hosted by Jeremy, Richard, James. Jeremy got fired because he was being violent. Oh, Gurgurs punched a producer.
Which Jeremy is he that old one?
Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson.
Right,
You can search him. You can search him. He's the one with the right. He's the tallest one. There you go.
What, with the curly grey hair?
Yeah, that's Jeremy.
Oh, he got fired.
He got fired because he
Oh,
was violent. He punched a guy. Punch. ITV basically said, and BBC said, "You be punched, so you be fired." Everyone got really upset. The Top Gear got new presenters because Richard and James said, "We can't do it without him because he makes the highlight of the show." Then Amazon came along saying, "We got you, buddy," and along came the Grand Tour. And then they decided to make a Grand Tour game, and now the Grand Tour is more popular than Top Gear. But it's kind of sad that now, season 3, I'm gonna look on my... With season 1 and 2, I've said there's 13 episodes, but in the game there's only 1. Season 3, there's 14, sorry. And it ends really sadly. It ends because of pretty much their age, so they're not going to be doing as much, but they're still going to be doing like episodes and whatnot. And they got really emotional because they've been doing it now for like over 30 years. But anyway, I'm going to end it. World's greatest ending. I like cheese.